Okay, if you could somehow bottle the energy of a major tech keynote, that buzz, the applause, that feeling you're
Yeah.
like looking right into the future, that's pretty much the vibe we got from the Google I/O 25 keynote.
Definitely. And the overwhelming theme I thought was just the sheer speed and scale. The AI progress just cascading across, well, everything they're doing.
Right. It feels like we're past just watching progress now. It's like we're seeing these fundamental shifts happening almost in real time.
Yeah, the volume of new stuff, models, features, products they've shipped just in the last year alone is, well, it's pretty astonishing.
Exactly. And so our mission here in this deep dive is to take that keynote transcript, we're going straight to the source, and really cut through the hype, the technical jargon.
Yeah. So let's try and unpack this together.
Let's do it. We'll explore the ideas, aim for clarity, keep it accessible, and hopefully uncover some really fascinating stuff along the way. Okay, let's dive in. Maybe start with the engine driving all this. The AI models themselves. Sundar Pichai really hammered this point in this Gemini era. They feel like they're shipping faster than ever.
Oh, he wasn't kidding. The numbers really back that up. They mentioned, what was it? Over a dozen new models and research breakthroughs released.
Yeah, plus more than 20 major AI products and features. And that's just since the last I/O.
Exactly. So it's clear the research isn't just, sitting on a shelf. It's getting out there fast.
And they brought data to show the impact of that speed, specifically on model capability. They call it a step function change.
Right. For Gemini Pro, their main model, they track progress using ELO scores. You can think of it kind of like a chess ranking for AI models.
Yeah.
Measures how strong they are across different tasks.
And for Gemini Pro, that ELO score is up over 300 points since the first generation.
Which, a jump like that isn't just a little bit better. It really signals the model is performing at a fundamentally higher level now. It's a significant gap compared to older versions or even other models out there.
And the latest version, Gemini 2.5 Pro, seems to be where that speed really shows. They announced it swept the El Arena leaderboard.
Yeah, that's a public benchmark, tracks performance across a whole range of language tasks. And 2.5 Pro took the top spot in all categories.
All of them. Wow.
Yeah, pretty powerful validation of its overall capability. And that includes a huge leap in coding ability, too.
Right. They mentioned Web Dev Arena.
Exactly. 2.5 Pro is #1 there now, improved by 140 ELO points. And you see this reflected in tools developers use, like Cursor. They said Gemini is the fastest growing model there, producing, get this, hundreds of thousands of lines of accepted code every single minute.
That's transformative, the scale of AI helping write code like that.
Totally. And then there was that slightly quirky example they gave of model capability, completing Pokemon Blue.
Ah, yes. Earning all 8 badges, defeating the Elite Four, the champion.
They called it achieving artificial Pokemon intelligence, which, okay, sounds a bit funny, but it's actually a neat illustration.
How so?
Well, it shows the model can understand complex rules, navigate this whole defined world, and stick with a long-term goal that has lots of steps. It's more than just answering a question. It shows planning and, a deeper understanding.
Okay, makes sense. So this kind of performance, it has to be built on something. They
Yeah.
talked about their infrastructure, right? The 7th generation TPU, Ironwood.
Ironwood, yeah. That's their custom chip designed specifically for AI. They reported it delivers 10 times the performance over the last generation, packed with 42.5 exaflops of compute per pod.
42.5 exaflops. That sounds like a lot.
It is. An exaflop is a billion calculations per second. So 42.5 of those in one unit. That's immense power for training and running these huge models. And importantly, this new hardware, it's coming to Google Cloud customers later this year.
Gotcha. And that infrastructure muscle, it connects directly to performance and cost, right?
Exactly. It's why they said Gemini models hold the top 3 spots on that El Marina leaderboard for outputting the most tokens per second, tokens being like the building blocks of AI responses.
So they're fast.
Very fast. And this is key, while prices are apparently coming down, it's that tricky balance, push the performance boundaries and make it more efficient.
And it seems the market is noticing. The adoption numbers they shared were, well, frankly, staggering.
Yeah, monthly token processing across all their products and APIs went from 9.7 trillion a year ago to 480 trillion now.
A 50x increase
Yeah.
in 1 year. Just think about the sheer amount of AI work happening to hit that kind of number.
It's mirrored on the developer side, too. Over 7 million developers are using the Gemini API now. That's 5x growth. And on Vertex AI, their platform for building models, usage is up over 40 times. So developers are definitely jumping on board.
And consumers.
Consumers, too. The Gemini app apparently has over 400 million monthly active users globally, and people using the newer 2.5 Pro models. They're showing a 45% jump in usage. But the biggest number was for AI overviews in search.
Right, that was huge.
Over 1.5 billion users every month in over 200 countries and territories. Sundar Pichai basically said it's bringing generative AI to more people than any other single product out there.
And it's working. People like it.
Apparently so. They reported users are happier, they search more often, and that's actually driving over 10% query growth in big markets like the US and India. So it's not just some niche thing, it's really reshaping how a massive number of people use search.
Okay, that momentum is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's undeniable. And this huge progress in the models and the infrastructure, it isn't just abstract numbers. It's rapidly changing how we actually use technology day to day.
Exactly. So let's pick it now and look at some specific examples. How is all this AI progress actually showing up in products, things you might already use or things you'll see popping up very soon?
Sounds good. One area that felt really futuristic was communication. They revisited Project Starline, that 3D video calling tech, aiming to make it feel like you're right there with the other person.
Yeah, and they announced the next step, Google Beam. It's basically an AI-first platform built on that Starline research. It uses a really advanced video model, takes multiple standard 2D video streams and turns them into a realistic 3D view.
On a special display.
Right, a light field display with really accurate head tracking. The goal is that same sense of presence you get from Starline, but maybe using more accessible cameras eventually.
And they're working with HP on this?
Partnering with HP, yeah.
Yeah.
First Google Beam devices should be available for early customers later this year. It's exciting to see that kind of, blue sky research start moving towards actual products.
Definitely. And speaking of research hitting products, they've put some of that underlying tech into Google Meet, haven't they, for translation?
Yes, real-time speech translation. They showed this demo that really hit home, someone booking a vacation rental in South America, but they didn't speak Spanish.
And what stood out wasn't just that the translation was accurate, right? It was how the AI kind of matched the speaker's tone, their speech patterns, even expressions.
Exactly. It made the translated conversation feel much more natural, less robotic. And that feature, it's rolling out now for subscribers, English and Spanish to start, more languages coming, enterprise customers get it later this year, could be genuinely game-changing for talking across language barriers.
Okay, so from communication, let's shift to maybe a more personal AI interaction. The whole idea of the AI assistant evolving, they mentioned Project Astra.
Project Astra, yeah. That's their big exploration into what a truly universal AI assistant could be, one that really understands the world around you visually and contextually.
And they're bringing some of that capability into the Gemini app now with Gemini Live.
That's right. Gemini Live brings Astra's camera and screen sharing features into the app. It's rolling out starting today on Android and iOS.
So Gemini can basically see what I see through my camera or on my screen.
Yep, and interact with you about it in real time.
Mm-hmm.
They said people are already using it for things like prepping for a job interview or getting live tips while training for a marathon. They showed some funny examples, too, of its visual understanding and maybe its occasional confusion.
Like telling the user that wasn't a convertible, it was a garbage truck. Or pointing out the person following was just their shadow.
Exactly. Gemini is apparently pretty good at telling you when you're wrong, was the quote. It shows the AI is developing a more nuanced grasp of vision and context. And like you said, that's coming to the app now. Plus, they hinted at deeper integrations coming with calendar, maps, keep, tasks.
Interesting. That connection, understanding context, and then potentially acting across different apps, that leads us nicely into the whole concept of agents getting things done.
Right. They defined agents pretty clearly. Systems that combine AI smarts with access to tools, letting them take actions for you, but always, they stressed, under your control.
And a key piece of this is the AI being able to actually use a computer, use applications.
That's fundamental. They showed Project Mariner again, which is their early prototype exploring exactly that computer-use tasks.
And Mariner's gotten better since we first saw it. Multitasking now.
Yeah, up to 10 tasks at once, apparently. And this teach and repeat feature, where the agent can learn a workflow just by watching you do it once.
That's powerful. And are developers getting access to this?
They are. These Mariner capabilities are being opened up through the Gemini API. Partners like Automation, Anywhere, and UiPath are already using it for workflow automation. Broader developer access is expected this summer.
Okay, but for agents to be really useful, they can't just work alone, right? They need to talk to each other, access other services.
Exactly. It needs an ecosystem. They mentioned launching agent-to-agent protocols with over 60 partners. Think of that as like a standard language for different AI agents to communicate.
And the MCP thing, Model Context Protocol.
Right, MCP, that's crucial. It's a secure way for AI models and agents to basically ask for data or trigger actions from other apps and services like getting product info from a shopping site or adding something to your calendar without needing a specific custom integration for every single service out there.
Sort of like a universal connector for AI agents.
Kind of, yeah. And the Gemini SDK now supports these MCP tools, which is vital for enabling agents to actually do things across your digital world.
And we're starting to see these agent capabilities pop up in actual Google products. Chrome, Search, the Gemini app.
We are. In the Gemini app, they demoed something called agent mode. The example was finding an apartment in Austin with really specific criteria for multiple people.
So instead of me manually searching Zillow and other sites.
Right. Agent mode does it behind the scenes, finds listings, uses Mariner Smarts to apply all those detailed filters you gave it, and uses MCP to maybe grab listing details or even help schedule a tour for you.
And it keeps working in the background.
Yeah, it can keep browsing for new listings while you go off and do other things like plan the housewarming party as they suggested. This agent mode is experimental for now, coming soon for subscribers, but it really paints a picture of how agents could automate those really time-consuming online chores.
That vision and agent working for you gets even more interesting when we look at the huge updates coming to Google Search itself.
Absolutely. I mean, AI overviews already hit 1.5 billion users, so people clearly want generative AI in search. But they announced what they called the next big step, a total reimagining of search. It's called AI mode.
AI mode, okay. Powered by their best models, like Gemini 2.5.
Starting with 2.5, yeah. And it's available today in the US as a new tab within search. They're framing it as their most powerful AI search yet, kind of a preview of the future. The idea is these cutting-edge features will eventually graduate into the main search results over time.
And one immediate difference is asking much longer, more complex questions.
Yeah, like 2 to 3 times longer than you typically would. And that's possible because of this technique they call query fan-out.
Query fan-out, how does that work?
So you ask a complex question. AI mode, using Gemini, understands it and breaks it down into lots of smaller sub-questions. Then it fires off, and this is the key part, multitudes of simultaneous searches across the web, but also across their real-time data, like the knowledge graph, shopping graph, local info.
All at once.
All at once. Then it reasons across all those results, checks its work apparently, and synthesizes everything into one comprehensive answer, and does it fast.
That sounds powerful. And they're adding personalization too, personal context.
Yes, coming this summer in labs. If you choose to opt in, AI mode can use your past search history, and this is a big step. Connect with info from other Google apps, starting with Gmail, to give you really personalized suggestions.
Like the Nashville trip example they used.
Exactly. Search might know you like outdoor seating from past searches, see an email newsletter about an art exhibit you might like, and even sync potential event ideas with your flight and hotel confirmations it found in Gmail.
So it connects the dots across your information.
Precisely. To make search uniquely helpful just for you, they really stressed user control and privacy, of course. You have to opt in.
Okay. What about really deep dives into complex topics?
For that, they introduced deep research, also coming soon in labs. This takes that query fan-out idea and dials it way up, runs dozens, maybe even hundreds of searches simultaneously.
To do what?
To create these really comprehensive, expert-level reports on a topic in just minutes, complete with links back to the web sources. It positions AI as this powerful engine for discovery, helping you find info you might never stumble upon otherwise.
And it can handle complex analysis too, like the baseball bat example.
Yeah, the torpedo bats. That was for complex analysis and visualization, coming this summer for sports and finance initially. You could ask a super specific question like batting averages and home runs for certain players only when using that specific type of bat.
And Search understands that?
Understands the complexity, pulls the specific stats from all over, puts them in a clear table, and could even generate a graph if you ask to follow up. They call it like having your very own sports analyst built into Search.
Okay, and those agent capabilities we talked about earlier, are they coming to Search too for doing tasks?
Yes. Things like finding event tickets, making restaurant reservations, booking local services.
So back to the ticket example.
Sure.
Search could find affordable tickets for a specific game, specific section.
Right. Analyze options across different sites, maybe even help fill in forms, check real-time availability and prices, and then link you straight to checkout. The idea is it helps you skip a whole bunch of manual steps to get things done right there.
Wow. And visually, search is changing too with Search Live.
Yeah, Search Live. That's bringing Project Astra's live, camera-based understanding into search.
So search can see and hear through my phone's camera.
Basically, yeah. And give you info in real time, almost like you're on a video call with Search. They showed a bunch of relatable examples.
Like the science experiment. Elephant toothpaste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Identifying the experiment, suggesting catalysts, or figuring out which strawberry is ripe, helping fix a remote control, showing how to plant a seedling, check tire pressure, mix baking soda correctly.
Even stain removal.
Even stain removal, cinnamon water stain, strawberry stain. It really shows search moving beyond just text, starting to understand the actual physical world around you through your device.
Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Yeah.
Beyond just finding info, shopping is getting a huge AI boost in this new AI mode as well.
Definitely. It's bringing together Google Images for that visual inspiration and their massive shopping graph.
Which has, what, 50 billion products listed now?
Over 50 billion, yeah. Bringing all that together with AI's understanding.
They showed finding a rug, right? For a specific room setup.
Yeah, light gray couch, need to brighten the room. You ask for visual ideas, and AI mode generates this browsable mosaic of images and actual products, and it's personalized based on your past searches.
And it can understand practical constraints, like having kids.
Exactly. Mention you have active kids or friends over a lot, and it might recommend rugs that are low pile, washable, durable, and even explain why those features matter for your situation. The goal is turning days of research into minutes.
That practical advice mixed with the visuals is smart. And speaking of visuals, virtual try-on. That sounded really advanced. It's available now.
In labs, yes, starting today. And technically, it sounds like a big leap. It uses a custom AI model trained just for fashion with really advanced 3D shape understanding.
And the key is it works with my photo, right? Not just on a model.
That's the crucial part. It shows how the clothes, the material, the fit, the folds, the drape would realistically look on you. They called it most state-of-the-art in the industry at scale. Visualizing billions of items on all sorts of people, it aims to tackle a huge pain point in online clothes shopping.
Makes sense. And then, closing the shopping loop. Agentic checkout.
Right, coming in the next few months, this uses those agent capabilities again. You can tell it to track the price of an item.
And get a notification when it drops.
Yep. And then the checkout agent can actually add the item to your cart for you. And for ultimate convenience, you can either review the details or literally just let the agent just buy it for me with one tap using Google Pay, all under your direction, of course.
Wow, one tap, dying based on a price drop. That's convenient.
Very. So yeah, these shopping features really combine that visual discovery, the huge product database, and the agent automation, all inside search.
Okay, let's talk creativity. AI is also becoming this powerful partner for artists, and they seemed keen to emphasize collaboration with the creative community.
They did. In music, they mentioned the Music AI Sandbox for pros, using their Lyria model highlighted work with Shankar Mahadevan, the Grammy winner, and they announced Lyria 2.
Lyria too. Better sound.
Higher fidelity, yeah. Pro-grade audio, more melodious, better vocals, more expressive. And it's available today for enterprises, creators, musicians. Seems aimed squarely at professional use.
That focus on pros makes sense, and alongside creating content, they're working on identifying it too, with Synthity.
Right. Responsible AI is a big piece. Synthity is their invisible watermarking tech to help spot AI-generated content. They've already watermarked over 10 billion images and audio files with it.
And there's a new detector.
Announced a new Synthity detector, yeah. Rolling out to early testers. This one can identify the watermark not just in images, but also in audio, text, and video. And even if only part of the media has the watermark, that kind of transparency is pretty important as this tech gets more common.
Definitely. What about video generation, VO?
VO, yeah. They talked about partnering with director Darren Aronofsky and his company, Primordial Soup, to really shape VO as a tool for storytellers.
And they showed that film, Ancestra.
By director Eliza McNitt, yeah. It blended live action with VO-generated video, creating these amazing visuals of microscopic worlds, cosmic events, even rendering herself as a newborn. Really emotional stuff.
And that collaboration helped build features filmmakers need, like consistency.
Exactly. Character and scene consistency using what they called ingredients, precise camera instructions, shooting along a specific path, features real filmmakers would need.
And building on VO, Imagen for Images, and Gemini, they announced a whole new tool, Flow.
Flow, launching today. They positioned it as a tool for creatives by creatives, inspired by being in the creative zone.
They demoed it with a grandpa building a flying car with a chicken.
That was the one. Showed how easy it was to upload your own images or generate new ones right there with Imagen, assemble clips using simple prompts and camera moves, and just iterate really fast in the scene builder.
And the consistency just works. Characters look the same across clips.
Apparently, yeah. Character and scene consistency just works. You can trim clips, extend them. The final video they showed looked pretty polished, and the quotes they shared from filmmakers using it were powerful.
What do they say?
Things like, it felt like the project was building upon itself like a spontaneous garden, or that they were not forcing it, just finding it. Sounds like it removes friction, lets artists just create.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And to get access to tools like Flow and VO, they updated their subscription plans.
Yep. There's Google AI Pro, available globally now, gives you the full suite, higher limits, includes the Gemini App Pro features,
Yeah.
and then there's a new higher tier, Google AI Ultra.
Ultra, for the cutting edge.
Pretty much. Positioned for trailblazers. Highest limits, earliest access to new stuff like DeepThink when it's ready, and Flow with VO3 access starting today. Plus perks like YouTube Premium and extra storage. They called it the VIP Pass for Google AI.
Okay, so moving from the digital canvas,
Yeah.
let's talk about bringing AI into the physical world. Android seems key here.
Absolutely. They positioned Android as where you see the future first, bringing Gemini breakthroughs right into that whole ecosystem of devices. You can already get Gemini from the power button on some phones, and it's getting more context-aware.
And Gemini is expanding beyond the phone.
Dramatically. They announced it's coming to your watch, your car dashboard, even your TV in the coming months. That really increases the places you can interact with Gemini throughout your day.
And for totally new physical devices, they officially introduced Android XR.
Android XR, yeah. Their first Android platform built for the Gemini era, designed to support a whole spectrum of mixed reality devices.
From headsets to glasses.
Exactly. Immersive headsets for things like entertainment or productivity, and then lightweight glasses for more glanceable, context-aware info on the go. They built it with Samsung, optimized it for Snapdragon chips. Developer preview is already out, and they're rethinking core Google apps like Maps and search for these XR environments.
They showed Samsung's headset, Project Muhan.
Right, the first Android XR device, described it as basically giving you an infinite screen.
What were the demos like?
They showed using Google Maps and XR, you could teleport anywhere, talk to Gemini about the sites, pull up related videos or websites right there in your view, and an MLB app where you felt like you were at the stadium chatting with Gemini about stats. Muhan is supposed to be available later this year.
Okay, but the thing that really felt like sci-fi becoming real was Gemini on glasses.
Totally. They made a point of saying Google's been exploring glasses for over a decade, and that work never really stopped.
And these new Android XR glasses.
Yeah.
Lightweight, all-day wear.
That's the design goal. Packed with tech camera, mics, speakers, optional display right in the lens. They work with your phone but give you hands-free access.
And they framed it as a really natural fit for AI.
Yeah, bringing Gemini power right where you are. The line was, get superpowers when you put your glasses on.
The demos looked impressive. What did they show?
Well, first, a backstage view through the lens showed text coming in, letting the user silence notifications hands-free, identifying someone they were talking to, even spotting Giannis Antetokounmpo wearing them.
Huh. And the photo wall example.
Right, identifying a band in a photo, counting crows, connecting them to the Shoreline Amphitheater, remembering it was a venue they played homecoming shows at, and then playing one of their songs, all from looking at a photo. Wow! And the onstage demo? Nishtha wore them, identified a coffee shop name, Loomsgiving, just from the logo on a cup, pulled up photos and info from maps, got walking directions with this cool heads-up display like a 3D map overlay, sent a calendar invite, all voice-controlled, hands-free.
And taking photos. Translated.
Captured a photo just by asking Gemini, added it to favorites, and then the really ambitious one, real-time translation. Nishtha speaking Hindi, Sharam speaking Farsi, and the English translation appearing right on the display for her. Did it work well? It did. Maybe a slight delay, but it worked. It really hammered home Gemini's potential on glasses. See what you see, search it, remember context, book things, navigate, translate, all while you're just living your life hands-free. Sharm even mentioned using them like a teleprompter.
So what's the plan for these glasses? Are they coming soon?
You're extending the partnership with Samsung to build the software and reference hardware platform so other companies can build Android XR glasses too. Prototypes are with trusted testers now. Developers get access later this year.
And they need to look good. Right.
Critically important, they announced partnerships with eyewear brands Gentle Monster and Warby Parker. So yeah, style is definitely part of the plan. It feels like just the beginning for this kind of integrated physical world AI.
Okay, so beyond all the products and devices, they did touch on how AI is having a broader impact, like right now, in society.
Yeah, they shared a couple of really compelling examples. FireSat was one.
The wildfire detection system.
Right, a satellite constellation using imagery and AI for near real-time detection. It can spot fires as small as 270 square feet and updates imagery every 20 minutes. That's a massive improvement over the usual 12-hour cycle, speed and precision for containment.
That's incredible. And the hurricane relief.
During Hurricane Helene relief, yeah, wing drone deliveries, working with Walmart and the Red Cross. They used AI to figure out what critical items, food, medicine, were needed most at different shelters in real time and routed the drones accordingly.
So AI helping coordinate disaster relief on the ground.
Exactly. These aren't just future ideas. They're showing AI making a practical difference today in really tough, real-world situations.
Sundar Pichai kind of wrapped up by reflecting on how quickly research is turning into reality now, mentioning things like helpful robots, disease treatments, quantum computers, autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, saying these things might become commonplace not in decades, but potentially in years.
And he shared that personal story about his dad riding in the Waymo.
Right, his father in his 80s, just genuinely amazed and moved by the experience of riding in a self-driving car.
Okay.
Kind of grounding it all, reminding us that ultimately this tech is about human impact, how it can inspire us, move us forward.
So, wow.
Hmm.
We covered a ton of ground in this deep dive, from those foundational AI models just crushing benchmarks.
Yeah, exponential progress there.
Sure.
To completely transforming search into something way more intelligent, personalized, even agentic. Something that understands the physical world.
We saw generative AI empowering creativity in music and video with tools like Flow, and this whole concept of AI agents starting to actually do tasks for you finding apartments, buying tickets.
And then that glimpse into the future of AI moving into the physical world, not just on your phone, but watches, cars, TVs, and these totally new things like Android XR headsets and those very cool AI glasses.
This deep dive, it was really designed for you, the listener, to help you get up to speed quickly on this incredibly fast-moving landscape. Because it's clear, the future of tech, driven heavily by AI, is really unfolding right now.
Which does leave us with a pretty significant thing to chew on, doesn't it?
Like that?
Well, what are the full implications of having a truly personal, proactive, really powerful AI assistant? One that understands your context deeply, accesses your personal info with your permission, of course.
No. Can act for you using your apps, your services.
And can even see and hear the world around you through cameras and mics on devices like glasses.
Yeah. What new possibilities does that level of integration actually unlock for productivity, for creativity, just for getting through the day?
And maybe more fundamentally, what questions does it raise about our relationship with AI when the tech becomes that integrated, that capable, that aware of our personal world?
Definitely something to mull over as we keep exploring this frontier together.